Welcome to Doyle Trading Consultants webinar describing our fourth quarter 2014 quarterly coal outlook and price forecast report. I'm Hans Daniels, Executive Vice President with DTC, and I'll provide a brief summary of the key findings contained in our report. If you're interested in learning more about our legal disclaimers, please feel free to pause this recording and read the fine print. Okay, let's get on to the good stuff. So what's inside? Well, first off, it's a supply, demand, and price forecast. And what's special about this quarter's release is that every fourth quarter, our report includes a 20-year thermal coal supply, demand, and price forecast. Now, typically, we go out 5 years with our forecast, but in the fourth quarter, we provide a 20-year coal supply, demand, and price forecast for thermal coal. In addition, we look backwards and we provide you with the industry-leading historical granular data. We break down data at the very microscopic, granular basin level data. Further, we provide online access to many of our data sets. So you as a client can see the actual data that we use to generate our graphs and our tables. And you can take that data and manipulate it on your own way. You can download it to Excel, or you can manipulate it directly on our website and create graphics through our website. And finally, even though this is a quarterly report, we do release data monthly. So when data comes out that's timely, for example, exports and inventories, we release that data to our clients as soon as it comes out and it's ready for distribution. So what's inside? Well, one of the things that we do, and we pride ourselves in, is we make it easy to navigate. We provide exactly what you need and in a format that's easy to read. So if you look, for example, in the report summary, we touch on the major factors that influence the coal markets, and we provide the arrows so you can see right away who's going to influence markets in a positive direction and what's going to put some negative spin on the coal markets. And the reason for this is to keep you informed, but to do it in a way that can save you time. And one of the best ways to save you time is we provide short and sweets. The short and sweet is a summary at the front of each section that allows you to read and quickly gather the key factors, the key elements, and the key conclusions from each section. And of course, if you want to learn far more information, you can read through our in-depth commentary that accompanies each section. And as well, the data, which you can receive online, is also, there's a lot of data available in the tables and in the spreadsheets and in the Excel graphics and charts. On the price forecast side, we cover 15 major coal types. We cover 3 Central Appalachian coals, 2 Northern App coals, 3 Illinois Basin coals, 2 Powder River Basin coals, 2 Rockies coals, 2 international coals, API 2 and 4, and 1 met coal, which is a premium coking coal out of Queensland. Our forecasts go out through 2018, which is 5 years when you include 2014. Next year we'll go through 2019. Now, as our fourth quarter bonus in this fourth quarter, our forecast went out through years 20. We don't just provide a price strip. Many of our competitors merely provide a price strip, but you have no indication of the certainty or the confidence level that's associated with a price strip if it's just a simple strip of numbers. So what we do is we include the stochastic range associated with that price strip. By giving you the standard deviation with each median price strip, you can see the confidence level that we have with our numbers, and you can see how the confidence varies over time, which gives you a very good indicator of what the true price of coal will likely be given the many influences that are expected. And if the 15 coal types that we cover aren't one of the ones that you're looking for, we do provide custom coal price forecasts. To be as transparent as possible, we don't just provide a price forecast, we give all the information that goes into it. So that first starts out with our supply and demand forecast. We provide basin-level production forecasts. So this gives you what the production is expected to be for each of the different basins. And on the demand side, we're just as thorough. we break out our forecast on the demand side by the different sectors. So you want to see how much utilities are expected to burn, or industrial coal, or exports, or coking coal. We include all of that. Furthermore, our historical data, we break that out by basin level. So if you want to see exactly how much industrial coal came from Central Appalachia versus Illinois Basin, and you want to see that change over time, we have that information and we present that to you. And we don't just present data that's regurgitation of what's out there. We put a spin on it to allow you to see information quickly in a way that allows you to absorb as much and as relevant information as possible. So for example, our seaborne netbacks, we provide netbacks for the Atlantic and Pacific basins. In this particular example, we look at the Atlantic Basin netback and where do the prices net back to the various supply basins around the world. If you look at the map, it's colored basically in shades of green and red. The green lets you see, any country that's shaded in green is a net exporter. Countries shaded in red are net importers. So you can quickly see where the coal is flowing across the globe by presenting the information this way. And we don't just present the final netbacks. We include all the tabular data, all the assumptions and the overland and inland transportation costs and shipping rates and everything else that go into these netbacks, and that's included in this report. We also look at things such as weather. We take the 12-month National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's forecast, and we discretize that over each NERC region to calculate how much extra or less burn is likely to occur for each coal basin supplying into that NERC region. And we aggregate that over each month to show what the expectation is for coal burn above or below normal coal burn based on the 12-month weather forecast. All of this, of course, gets rolled back into our price forecast. So if it's going to be a cold winter or a hot summer, then you can expect prices, coal prices, to bump up. We don't just look at coal, though. We look at the competing fuels. We look at nuclear, wind, hydro, natural gas. All of those competing fuels are very important, and we cover all of that in great depth. Hydro, for example, we provide the drought maps, the snowpack maps, to give our predictions of what the upcoming hydro year will be like. On wind, we look at not just how much wind is out there and what the wind capacity and utilization is, but we trace that back and analyze how much of an impact does wind have on the consumption of coal from each of the basins. There are some interesting conclusions that we have drawn, and one of those is that Powder River Basin gets hit very hard by wind, disproportionately hard by wind, primarily because where the wind farms are is in the west, and that's where most of the wind, that's where most of the PRB coal is burned. We don't just say qualitative things like that. We actually calculate how many tons could be displaced. In the wind example, for wind, for example, we calculate that PRB could lose up to 45.3 million tons of coal demand to wind out of the 87.5 million tons of total coal that could be displaced by wind across the U.S. Nuclear, for example, we look at not just the upcoming retirements and the upcoming new builds, but we also forecast outages. And on natural gas, we go in very great detail, and we look at many things. For one, we look at monthly coal gas switching. What's the interplay between coal, gas, and other meaning primarily wind? And we break that out by NERC region to see under what situations and which months did coal gain or did coal lose versus gas and wind. Compounding that and adding to that, we run 84 price scenarios in our coal versus nat gas model. In our coal versus nat gas model, we play around with prices, and we run Henry Hub prices at 50-cent increments, and we take the current coal price and then also run that at plus and minus 10% increments. And we do these scenarios for each of the 7 demand regions in the U.S. So PJM East, PJM West, ERCOT, CERC, etc. And we do that to show which coal or which regions prefer to burn coal economically and which ones is natural gas better to burn from an economic standpoint. And we factor in all the other smaller information such as emissions control prices and the basis differentials. All of those factors go into this model, and we show you where the tipping points are. We also look at nat gas production by region and by rig. We give updates on where the LNG terminal status is, who's building, where are those new terminals being built, and when do they expect to be completed? How much will they be pushing out? And all of that traces back to basis differentials. And we look at the different price basis differentials for natural gas across the U.S. to see where is gas priced at a most depressed rate. But beyond competing fuels, we also look deeper into coal plants and on the coal demand side. There are a lot of upcoming retirements that have been announced and that are expected to occur through 2020. We look at the impact that those retirements will have not just on those particular units, but on the coal miners that are supplying the coal companies that are burning it, and the transport companies that are shipping that coal to those plants. And we don't just look at the retiring plants, but we look at the net result to the survivors. So some of the load that's going to be retired will be picked up by the survivors. We want to trace back how that coal flows to those survivors, how much additional coal those survivors will burn, and where will that coal come from? Which basin and which mine owner will that come from? And we present all of that information here so you can see who are the winners, who are the losers, and who really gets hit hard. Same goes with stockpiles. We look at monthly data, and this is something that we update monthly and provide to our clients on a monthly basis. Not just U.S. stockpiles, but we look at basin level stockpiles. We calculate how much coal is burned and is stored at the basin level. So we track basin level transactions, basin level burn, and basin level stocks for each month. And as soon as the data comes out, we push it out and provide it to you. And all of this is also available online to our clients. Same with exports. We look at monthly export data and we further discretize that back down into where the exports came, from which basin did it come. We look at the exports by the port in which they were sent, the destination where the coal was sent to, as well as the coal type. We break all of that down. So if you want to see thermal versus metallurgical coal, shipments to Europe out of a certain port, we have that information. We track that. We provide that information with an updated report every month, and we also put the data on our data access site. On coking coal, we dive down to a great depth of coking coal. First off, we forecast the global economic growth expectations over the next 5 years. And we also have breakouts by country for the major consuming and producing countries that are involved with coal. We then use that to calculate and to forecast global steel production at the country level. We use that to then calculate the coking coal imports that are expected to occur over the next 5 years for the major importing countries. And we compare that to our forecast of coking coal exports to see how much of an oversupply or undersupply there will be in the market. We track various mine openings and closures to keep fully aware of how much coal is hitting the global market. And then finally, in our report, we keep track of the regulatory updates. We know that these regulations are constantly shifting. Either they're being put on hold or they're changed. There are new regulations that are popping up. We keep track of all the relevant regulations that affect the coal markets, so you don't have to. And we not only put it in the nice handy table so you can get the key updates on what the status is of those regulations, but we also look at the impact that those proposed or actual regulations will or may have on the coal markets. As I pointed out, a lot of our data is available on our DTC Online site. We provide interactive dashboards that allow you to manipulate the data, to filter the data, either by time or by coal type or by basin or by origin or by destination, or a lot of different ways to organize the data. You can download the data, you can download parts of the data, you can download the entire data set. It's all part of our package here. This is updated monthly, and you also have access to other DTC data and DTC subscriptions through the online data site. So finally, if you are interested in the DTC Quarterly Coal Outlook and Price Forecast, let me just tell you what your subscription includes. It includes the Quarterly Coal Outlook and Price Forecast report sent as a PDF. We also provide monthly updates on basin level export and inventory data, which will be delivered via email and can also be accessed via the DTC Online site. And then plus, you gain online access to the data associated with exports, stocks, supply, demand, and price forecasts. If you have further questions or would like information regarding this, or if you would like a free sample and a demo, please feel free to contact us. We can be reached. The best person to reach would be Vicki Bray. In the United States, her number is 970-241-1510, or email Vicki at vbray, V-B-R-A-Y, at DoyleTradingConsultants.com. Thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing from you.